welcome back to Dave Workers channel. I wanted to go over something with you guys tonight that I'm doing to this gun here. This is my SAR Arms SAR 9, SAR 9. It's a really nice pistol. It kind of feels like a clone of an HKVP with that grip that's on here. It's very nice. It's a full-sized, I think this is 17 plus 1, so 18 rounds, 9mm, 4-inch barrel, external safety, thumb safety. I'm not a really big fan of external safeties, but if I'm going to have one, I prefer a thumb safety if I'm going to have one. So it's a nice gun. It's got front serrations for cocking. It's got this nice texture in the back here for rear. It's got your standard 3-dot sights on there. All right, so it's pretty cool. It's nice. 17 rounds. It's nice. Oh yeah, the hammer's out of it. That's why it's not cocking. But I was going with this. Oh, Picatinny rail on the rear lower. It's not RMR MOS cutted. I'm sorry, the firing pin is out in my hands right here. That's what I was looking at. It's like, oh gosh, I hope I can get this off. I think I can because it's not cocking. Disassembles very much like a Glock. Very, very much like a Glock. So you take it and you run it home, hit that, got the mag out of there, it's empty. So if you see this texturing bin here on both sides, I don't know if you guys can see that, I hope you can see it on both sides here. All you do is pull back slightly, and if the firing pin was in, you pull back slightly, let go, slide starts to go forward, then you drop the hammer just like you, or a firing pin like you would a Glock. And it comes off just like a Glock would. This just needs a tune-up. This just needs some brushing here on this metal here, some shaving on this slide line, shaving on this slide line here, and just a little bit of lube, and it's good to go. That's what I'm changing. I'm not changing the trigger or anything like that on the lower here. That's pretty okay. It's pretty nice. But what I'm doing to this gun, I wanted you guys to see, is, and I've taken the firing pin out of it for a reason, and I've left the extractor guide pin in for a reason as well. This is the extractor piece right here. This is what actually flips the shell out of the gun. This rides in that pin, and that presses on a spring back and forth. It's spring driven, back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. You know what I mean? And that's what comes in and puts tension against this extractor as it runs through the gun. But I don't know if the camera can pick this up. There's some heavy gunk in this right here, and it's not GSR, it's more of part of the coating, the nitrate finish coating that's on in there. It's a bunch of hair. There was some on the front plate here, the striker plate here. Just needed some help and some cleaning, so I'm gonna take my wire brush, I'm gonna brush that off pretty good. I'm gonna take my 200 sand grit, I'm gonna go a little bit on that while pressing this spring down. Okay, I'm gonna hold that spring down, and I'm gonna put my 200 sand grit on this peg right here. I'm gonna take my wire brush and brush out this line, brush out this line. I'm gonna take my little bitty pin file that I have here, flat stick pin file, and I'm going to run it back and forth in this, you know, for a little bit here. And as you can see, it's getting stuck on a bunch of stuff that shouldn't be in the gun from the get-go. And I know everybody's like, oh, you're scratching your gun, you're scratching your gun. I personally don't think I'm scratching my gun because, first of all, you don't see this on the outside when the gun's together. Second of all, what I'm doing is I'm actually lightening the slide in a way that makes it more reciprocates faster on the gun. That it slides easier back and forth on these pegs right here. And there's a sticky part right there. There's a big old sticky part right there. And that, see, I'm grabbing that sticky part right there, and a sticky part right there, and a sticky part right there. So I really want to get rid of that sticky part. That's what I'm trying to get rid of, so I don't have that problem, and I never get a hang up or hang fire or feed ramp malfunction or anything like that. I'm trying to get rid of that stickiness in the gun. And everybody's like, well, lube could do that. Yeah, lube could do that for a short time. But what happens when you have too much lube in your gun? You end up grabbing a lot of GSR, because if the lube is in the gun and you're shooting the gun, powder plus wetness equals mud. You know what I mean? That's just how this works. That's basic, you know what I mean? But another thing I'm doing also is on a lot of these semi-automatic pistols, I find a big issue with this block piece right here, the CNC cut part of the housing on the barrel itself. I don't know if you can see there's a little bit of a silver shine to mine now right here. That's because of racking this gun, and as it travels past, it sits right here, and as it travels past this piece of metal, it goes in and out, in and out, in and out. So that's what has to happen every time it's fired and the gun goes off. This plate drops, the slide comes back, reciprocates, and comes back forward and goes back into battery. What happens is wearing that barrel out and causing a little bit of a tension on there, and it should have a little bit of tension on there, but it's eating this top rail here and the top rail on the slide as well. So what I do is I take a little bit of 2000 sand grit paper, which I have right here, and I'm literally just running it back and forth on that, and I'm using a pin to do that. I'm using a flat face pin to do that. I just put it in here like this, and I just go back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, you know, just taking a little bit of that edge off there, making it a little bit rounder, not as rounded, not around, but taking a little bit of that edge off that square edge there, making it so that it can run a little bit faster. I'm going to do the same thing with this here. I'm going to take this flat pin, I'm going to go ahead and put to the side of the sandpaper here, and I'm just going to lay that up against the face here of this right here, and I'm going to go back and forth minutely. Just back and forth minutely. That's all I'm doing. So that's all I'm going to do. I'm going to square that up a little bit more. And then this should, in reality, make this faster and drops in smoother and faster coming this direction from the gun and coming back and forward. So that's changing my reciprocation rate, and this is going to help speed up the process as far as the slide going back and forth. Like I showed you, there's a hang up point in here. I need to clean all that gunk out so it doesn't have that problem. So this is stuff I do with a lot of my guns and a lot of my friends that are like, I take out shooting and they want to come out and shoot with me, and new people, new shooters that come out with me as well. They're like, man, your guns feel so much different than my guns, or hey, your gun shoots so much smoother than the gun, your version of this gun that I shot at a friend's house, your gun feels so much smoother and so much faster, and I don't understand why, and it's just so much better. That's because I take my time and I work on my guns and I make them pretty and I make them more functionable for what they need to be. This is not a toy, this is a tool. You can have fun with it, but I can have fun with a hammer as well. Taking something apart, smashing glass, that's fun. I mean, that's a destructive tool. It can be also to build. This doesn't really build anything. I mean, unfortunately, I can't fire a bullet and drive a nail in for a piece of wood that's gonna hold a house. I can fire a bullet, hit a nail, but that's just, you know, showing off at that point. That doesn't do anything. All right, but this is a tool. It's made for a purpose. And that purpose is to send a piece of metal, projectile lead, downrange in a straight line, fast as possible, and hit and destroy what it hits. That's what its purpose is. All right, it's not a toy. I understand that, and I respect that about these things. But it does have a purpose. It serves a purpose, and it has a very good purpose. So that purpose is to help me defend me and my family and my life and everything that I stand for, and protect my land and my property and my livelihood and, you know, my country and anybody who's near me. That's going to save their life as well. I mean, if I enter in a situation where I had to use this. So yeah, I mean, guns don't kill people. People with guns kill people. All right, that's just how it goes. I mean, a gun has never jumped up all by itself and shot somebody. It has never walked down the street, got somebody look at it sideways, and then shot them just because you looked at them badly. I can't tell you how many times I've had a gun in a holster on my hip, and people see it, and they give me this nasty look because they see a gun on my hip, and the gun never jumps out of the holster and tells them, go fuck yourself and shoot them. All right, so yeah, no, I never had a gun do that in my life. It takes a hand to operate this tool, to this mechanical tool. So you have to have a hand to make this thing do anything, and that hand has to be attached to a body. So sorry to tell you, guns don't kill people. People with guns kill people. And I subscribe to that theory 100%. So it's not even theory, that statement, that true fact. It's not a theory. Excuse me, I misspoke. It's not a theory. It is a fact, a true fact. All right. So yeah. Anyhow, that's what I'm working on tonight. I might do a video later tonight of micro 380s, the difference between the Glock 42 and the Browning Black Label 1911, 15% smaller 1911 380. I was asked to do a 380 video. I have several 380s. I mean, I could fill this entire table with pocket pistols if I wanted to, but I think 380 is going to be the best for that person. As a woman, she needs to know that her hands are smaller than most, and recoil is not fun. And if you're carrying a gun that is tiny, you're going to end up with a little bit more recoil. So we'll end up into that video probably later, if not tonight, tomorrow night, but that's where I'm at. So yeah, that's how I do this, and that's what you should do with your guns. I know as a goal, you're modifying your gun a little bit, or you're changing it from spec, what's going on. Yeah, there's a reason, and it works, and it doesn't damage the gun, and the gun still functions, and still goes bang every time I pull the trigger. So that just does it faster, does it smoother, does it better. I'm not a gun engineer where I can sit and tell them as a manufacturer saying, okay, this is a great idea, the microns here, microns there, making this thing work better this way. I just know as a gun owner of multiple guns for many years, what I like in a gun and what I need in a gun and what works in a gun. So I know what I can do to this gun to make it work even better. So that's what I'm doing to it. As the owner, as the operator, I can even take the firing pin out of this gun. I mean, I could even take the front side of this gun. I know how. Take the rear side off this gun. I could pull this pin, push this pin through, pull the extractor out, take the spring loader out. I've done it from many guns over the years, and many for different styles of gun. So yeah, I know a lot about my guns. I know a lot about them, but I don't want to put it out there and say I'm an engineer or something like that. I'm not. So anyhow, thanks for watching the Outdoors channel. You guys stay safe, and we'll see you in the next video.